It's the latest social media trend, taping your mouth shut to get a better night's sleep.
Have you heard about mouth taping and...
Nearly 40 million views on TikTok.
I slept with mouth tape. Absolutely love mouth taping.
Mouth taping.
Mouth taping.
Mouth taping. Mouth taping.
Taping my mouth.
When 25 to 30% of the air you breathe passes through your mouth instead of your nose, you can be classified as a mouth breather. Another day, another new affliction that you are now self-diagnosed with thanks to the wonders of the internet. But why is being a mouth breather bad? Say this like we've got some weird caste system going on and you're now at the bottom of the pile. Well, as long as you don't have any physiological issues with your nose, mouth breathing actually affects the quality and quantity of the air you breathe, because your nose essentially acts like an air filter. According to this Allure article, it cuts down on inflammation and allows for deep chest expansion with each inhale. And if you've been on TikTok, there are also claims that mouth breathing makes you suffer from chronic fatigue, lung function issues, and digestive issues. And as a girly with chronic fatigue and a mouth that does an awful lot of breathing, I figured I might need a solution to this new ailment. And that's where mouth tape comes in. No, not this. Sorry, I just needed a thumbnail. Allegedly, taping your mouth every night to go to sleep helps you secure better rest. Yeah, I know. Better rest. You just gotta tape your mouth, babes. Remus is on board. Allegedly, Remus, it'll also make you hotter. He's gagged. Right off the bat, there isn't masses of scientific evidence supporting most of the anecdotal claims made all over social media about the benefits of mouth taping. So if you want science, I've done my best here, but I'll be honest, there isn't a lot of clinical evidence for most of this stuff. I also have to give the incredibly obvious disclaimer that you need to exercise caution when using mouth tape, because as many of the medical professionals have pointed out, taping shut, one of the main ways in which you get oxygen into your body, might not be a good idea for everyone. So please be responsible. Remember that nothing said online is personal to you, and that all information you receive needs to be placed into the context of you and your own personal health needs. Which is very interesting, because that's exactly what Trainwell, the sponsor of this part of today's video, does. We're all applauding. We're all very happy. Excellent transition. Score me out of 10 on that, because I'll be honest, I'm very proud of that one. Trainwell is a one-on-one personal training service that allows you to meet your health and fitness goals in the most convenient way possible by partnering you with a personal trainer who designs custom workouts to fit your very specific needs. But how do they do that? You get to take a quiz. And this fun little quiz matches you to your very own perfect personal trainer. Many of you may remember that I was previously partnered with trainer Brooke, but I recently got re-partnered and now I'm with trainer Amanda. So I had an onboarding call with her where she got to know my specific needs and goals when it came to fitness, and then she got to creating me some custom workouts, all accessible within the Trainwell app. I can tell her exactly how each move felt, and I can even give specific feedback on the weight or the number of reps. Amanda can then use this feedback to better tailor the workout to my changing needs, for example, adding more weight or lowering the number of reps. I can even push a workout forward by a day and not lose my streak, which is great for me because sometimes I wake up and I'll be honest, it's not the day for it. You know what I mean? We're all human. You've all been there. Sometimes you wake up and you just think, not today. I've talked a lot in the past about my struggles to stay consistent when it comes to healthy habits, but thanks to Trainwell, I've actually managed to stay consistent for the last few years when it comes to working out and meeting my personal fitness goals. And a huge part of this is because I have a personal trainer who checks up on me if I miss a workout. She motivates me to keep going, but she's also incredibly understanding and flexible when it comes to my workouts if I'm finding them a bit too much on a given week. And I think having that human connection, it appeases the part of my brain that is very people-pleasery. I'm consistent purely because there's a human there being like, hey babes, fancy doing the workout that I custom made for you? I'll be like, oh yes. Yes, I do. Actually, Amanda, thank you so much. I've been using Trainwell for years at this point, so you already know I love it. And if you want to try it out for yourself, take the quiz linked in the description down below to find your perfect trainer and get 14 days free training. Listen, who doesn't love a quiz? You may as well click the link, babe. Okay, so now you know a truly science-backed method of improving your health. Let's get back to a slightly more anecdotal one. So what do people online say that mouth taping fixes? It's quite a list, so I've just compiled the main ones. It stops you snoring, corrects mouth breathing, can produce more restful sleep, and it also improves your sleep quality because you're not potentially waking yourself up from snoring, which, whilst embarrassing, is something that I definitely have done. I actually did that last night. Listen, it's my hamasha. I'm a big snorer. Sorry. Is any of this true, I hear you ask? Well, it depends largely on how you snore as well as the reasons for your mouth breathing. For example, some people are throat snorers, which means they may snore even if their mouths are sealed. Another example where this might not be optimal is if you have a deviated septum. In that case, breathing through your nose will actually provide no benefits because you may actually be getting less oxygen than if you just breathe through your mouth in the first place. It can also cause more inflammation, so double homicide. Now, I know some of you are sat there thinking, yada yada yada, disclaimer, disclaimer, exceptions to the rule, boring. How's mouth taping supposed to make me hotter? And I'm about to tell you. According to many online, there is a correlation between mouth breathing and the development of your facial structure, with mouth breathing causing narrow faces, receding chins, and jaws. And if you're going to ask me if there is any scientific proof for this, I can say kind of. Because doctors can't really agree. One study found literally no correlation at all between mouth breathing and facial bone structure development, whilst the American Sinus Institute validated the existence of what they call mouth breather face. Which sounds like a really bad Marvel superhero. The main features of this mouth breather face are a gummy smile, a flat nose, receded chin, and a narrow face. This is also supported by a doctor of dental surgery who was quoted in an Allure article saying, "Being a mouth breather when you're a child and your face is developing can lead to an elongated and narrow facial shape that does not have room for teeth or tongue." Why? Well, according to them, when you breathe through your nose, your tongue naturally fills your palate space and exerts an upward and outward pressure. It promotes forward growth of the jawbones. In mouth breathers, the bottom jaw never grows forward fully and can lead to an obtuse bottom jaw angle, a retruded chin, a crowding of the teeth, and a constriction of the space where the tongue is supposed to rest. This can work to constrict airway passages, which can affect your sleep. So who do we believe? I hear you ask. And I'm not sure. No one is, really. With one paper noting that since the introduction of mouth breathing as a reportable phenomenon about 100 years ago, its influence on the malocclusions and morphological and functional development of the maxillofacial region has been controversial. That same paper reviewed recent publications that alleged that mouth breathing either did or did not impact the facial development of participants, and they found that there's no high-quality evidence elucidating the effects of mouth breathing on dental facial development and health. However, they did specify that this was largely due to the lack of well-designed clinical studies, rather than the fact that there isn't anything to report on. This means that there could very well be an impact on mouth breathing and your facial development, but because of a lack of research and an absence of reliable, valid evidence, the precise contribution of genetic and environmental factors in the facial development of mouth breathers is unknown. However, it's not all doom and gloom, because mostly it seems that doctors can agree that mouth breathing leads to bad posture, particularly of your neck and head, with mouth breathers leaning forward more. And bad posture doesn't just look bad, it feels bad too. Poor neck posture can give you worse headaches. It's just L after L after L for mouth breathers. So, in the words of people far smarter than me, the mechanism of mouth breathing impact on the development of the dental and craniofacial region is still unclear. But what is clear is that everyone on TikTok is obsessed with it. Short and short of it, nobody knows if this is any good. So who better to tell you whether it is or not than me, Eleanor Bateman. Okay, so when it comes to mouth taping, you kind of have two options. You can either go down the professional route, which is essentially pre-cut sleeping strips. They are specially designed pieces of tape in individually wrapped packages that you can kind of grab and go. Stick it on your mouth and it's sealed. like I don't know, like some kind of precious tomb. The other option is the more DIY route, which is this. medical safe body tape. For the sake of this video, I'm going to be trying both, as well as a third option, which is just leaving my mouth unsealed. just raw dogging sleep, I guess. Now, even on the packet of these sleep strips, they say they are environmentally friendly, medical grade tape that reduces snoring and are easy to carry. Now, I would agree with all of these, except for the environmentally friendly one, because each one of these strips is individually papered, which means that you're creating quite a bit of waste there, I will say. I'm also a bit suspicious of the fact that it says medical grade tape, but when you look at ingredients, it just says medical material. My favourite ingredient, medical material. There are lots of different versions of sleep strips available. I just got one of the most popular ones off of Amazon, but it is worth noting that getting something that at least claims to be medical grade tape or medically approved material is probably a good thing. The reason I quite like this is because it does come with a small hole in the center for your mouth so that you can still breathe a little bit if you want to. I'm gonna peel this one off to show you. The only thing I will say as a downside is exactly what's just happened here. The part in the middle of this tape is the mouth hole. It is quite fiddly to kind of pull it out, but this is the tape. It is slightly textured, if you can see. I think it goes on this way, but I did see a video where someone put it on this way, and I think this depends on just whether or not you like to smile. I don't, so I go for frowny face. You can still talk through it, as long as you don't need to massively move your lips when you talk. It is making you think I might have missed a career as a ventriloquist. I kind of feel like that one version of Deadpool, you know, where he couldn't speak and his mouth was kind of like gone. Ow, it really does tug on the soft skin of your lips there. Now, the cheaper DIY version is this tape. A benefit of using this material is that it has a lot more flexibility than the sleeping strips. You basically do the exact same thing, which is you can pop it across your mouth like this, cutting a small hole in the center for breathing, or you can do what other people I've seen online do, which is just taping an X over your mouth. Something I'm sure my mother wishes she could have done to me for my entire childhood. This way you can still talk, it's not as easy. So these are our two options for this video. We've got sleep strips made of medical grade tape, and we've got a DIY cross made of body safe medical tape. And to make sure it's a more accurate and fair test, I'm going to be alternating between both of these methods, but also between using neither of them. And I'm going to do this for 2 months. And this will mean that I'll have worn mouth tape to go to bed for a little over a month. I'll let you know how it goes. All right, we've got mouth tape, we're gonna put it on. Okay, I've just had to peel it down because I've realised I'm really thirsty, so remember to have a drink before you've done that, I guess. So here are my thoughts on this. I have been alternating nights with and without taping my mouth shut for a little over 2 months now, and the results are interesting. So I just woke up after using the mouth strips, and something that is a bit of an occupational hazard is I woke up this morning and the mouth tape was folded on my pillow. Not on my mouth, where I previously left it. So I think in my sleep, I am peeling this off my mouth and just chucking it in any direction. So that's something that I think I need to work on. So yeah, just because you go to sleep with your mouth tape does not mean that it will stay that way. Apparently I am really, really dedicated to the mouth breathing thing. I'm really so motivated to continue with my mouth breathing that I will rip tape off of my mouth and have no recollection of it in the morning. When I use the tape and don't peel it off in the middle of the night with no recollection of ever doing that, I definitely wake up with a less sore throat and a less dry mouth. I feel like my face is overall less puffy, which could be a sign of a better night's rest because my lymph nodes are less inflamed. And I definitely woke up less on nights where I had my mouth taped. And this could be because, according to my roommate, I didn't snore when I had my mouth taped shut, which huge win for this household. Another bonus is that if you are a mouth breather and you're finding that it is impacting your sleep, this is a relatively cheap and easy thing to implement into your daily routine, which could have huge benefits for a very low cost.
Okay, so thoughts and feelings from wearing the mouth tape. I do think it helps. I do think my sleep has improved from having my mouth tape shut, which is crazy, but it's a win for TikTok, I fear.
Downsides. There are a few. Putting the mouth tape on doesn't always mean it will stay on. Found it in my hair one morning. It wasn't pleasant. When the mouth tape does stay on, I've noticed that my lips get quite dry and raw. I tried to fix this by applying lip balm to my lips before putting on the sleeping strips, but I noticed that it made them not stick anymore and it just slid right off. Though this problem did occur less with the medical tape, it was still an issue. So I do think the level of dryness and kind of roughness that this has on your lips could be a deal breaker for some people. Another downside is that I did occasionally find myself breaking out in spots around my mouth due to trapped up moisture or just from having sticky residue on my mouth a lot. It's not good. I imagine it is clogging my pores in some capacity, so that's something else to consider. This was one of the main motivations behind me deciding to wear the tape on alternating days.
Okay, we are back with the world's best camera quality. We're doing no mouth tape tonight, so I've also just realised I forgot my retainer. No mouth tape, no retainer. We're going into this night raw.
Other downsides that are slightly more obvious, but I do think are relevant to mention. If you have a cold, you obviously can't tape your mouth shut, so you kind of are right back where you started. And I do think that it's also worth noting that the whole process of taping your mouth shut can actually be quite uncomfortable at first because it's just not a process that is natural to a lot of mouth breathers. Not gonna lie, mouth breathers at this point feels like a derogatory term, but we move. But this discomfort, because it feels unnatural to have your mouth taped shut, can actually be disruptive to your sleep, either because it takes you longer to fall asleep or because you're waking up in the night to take the tape off because your brain subconsciously is like, I don't know what's happening here. I must be suffocating because I can't breathe out my mouth. I also think that this could trigger some people's sensory issues because it does start feeling a little bit icky. Obviously, any disruption to your sleep defeats the entire point of taping your mouth, so I guess it's kind of up to you whether you decide that this initial discomfort could be worth it for long-term gains where your sleep quality is concerned.
I kind of prefer these to the body tape because even though I think the body tape X is even though that's comfier, I think the convenience of these beats out every time. I'm just too lazy to go and be cutting tape right now.
I found all of these in my bedside table, which is really disgusting and is probably a self-report, but to be honest, you kind of just put the mouth tape on and then you forget, and so you just bury all of these papers in your drawer. And then these are clearly pieces of mouth tape that I've either ripped off in the night or ripped off very early in the morning and just put it in the drawer to hide it from my cats, and then forgotten it was there. So yeah, I'm not sure how these are the eco-friendly option, but there we are.
I'm going to continue with my alternative night taping routine because I do feel that I have a lot of benefits from it. But honestly, any benefits really depend on your personal circumstances and physiology. Are you a mouth breather turned taper, or would you never dare touch this stuff? I'd love to hear your experiences and thoughts down below, as well as any tips you have for, you know, not ripping the tape off in the night and chucking it in random directions. If mouth taping isn't for you, but you still want something tried and tested to help improve your health and physical fitness, once again, I defer you to the sponsor of part of today's video, Trainwell. The personalized workouts on there are customized to your specific health needs, so you're getting exactly what you need when you need it. Click the link in the description down below. Thank you so much to Trainwell for sponsoring part of today's video, and thank you to you for watching all the way to the end. It was very nice of you. I wish you nothing but a nice sleep breathing through your nose.